No matter what, there are going to be injuries in soccer. It's a contact sport, and therefore injuries are unavoidable. However, there are certain injuries that we can try to minimize the impact of or the incidence of. I like to break them up into two types of injuries. There are injuries associated with trauma within the game itself, and then injuries associated with overuse type activities or too much training or playing in a given season. Avoiding injuries is a process that takes several steps. First, it's important to have the proper equipment. That can include the proper fitting shoes, wearing appropriate sized shin guards, having a ball that is not only the appropriate size, but making sure it's pumped up appropriately. Also having the proper playing conditions, not only from a weather standpoint, but field. You need a safe field to play on, and ultimately the goals need to be well anchored, because there are incidents where kids have been killed from goals blowing over in the wind. So those are initial easy steps to take. Then from a training standpoint, there are certain measures that can be done to try to minimize both overuse injuries and acute traumatic injuries. The majority of injuries during soccer do occur in the lower extremity. Common injuries include muscle strains, patellar and Achilles tendonitis, as well as injuries to some of the ligaments about the knee. Ways to avoid this, besides the proper equipment and field conditions, include proper warm-up, stretching, and training tactics that become part of a team's routine during the season. One particular injury that's received a lot of attention lately has been trying to decrease the rate of anterior cruciate ligament tears. This is a very common injury seen in soccer, and unfortunately it leads to a prolonged loss of time, up to a year, before they can return to play. We know from studies that females have up to an 8-time higher rate of ACL tear. Research has been done that shows that certain prevention programs can decrease the rate of ACL tears up to 80%, especially in female populations. This is the most exciting aspect of the research that we're currently doing, because if we can decrease the rate of ACL tear, that leads to a significant decrease in morbidity associated with soccer. No matter how hard we try, there's still going to be injuries. It's important that if you are injured, that you seek medical attention so that you can be evaluated by a medical professional. Oftentimes, the injury is minor and only a couple days rest is needed, and you can be back playing soccer. However, if it is a more serious injury, this needs to be identified quickly so that the appropriate measures can be taken and steps can be taken to avoid worsening injury. Unfortunately, sometimes these injuries are serious and do require surgery. However, the vast majority of injuries can be treated non-operatively and only need either some relative rest or some physical therapy and medications. However, it's important that you seek medical attention so that those decisions can be made and determine the best way to treat your particular injury.